Welcome, everybody. My name is Miriam Laundry. I'm a children's book author, and it's really fun to be able to do this. Like I said before, it's my first time doing a Google Hangout, so there's a couple of glitches, but we will work through those. I appreciate you being here today. Today we're celebrating Winspiration Day, and Winspiration Day is something that was started, I think it's about 10 years ago now, and this is a global movement that Wolfgang has incorporated. And Winspiration is about empowering each other, empowering ourselves on this day. On May 7th, every year, today, all over the globe, people are doing something positive for themselves and for others. It's about going for our full potential. So it's very fitting that I would be reading the book today. I was very honored last year when the Winspiration Day awarded me their 2014 award for my work with children and self-esteem. I don't think I'll ever forget May 7th because last year, not only did we get the Winspiration Day award, but we set a Guinness World Record. And I know a lot of you watching helped us with this, and I want to congratulate you for that. We set the record for the largest online book discussion in a 24-hour period. And it was quite something. It was very exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, but we did it. And when I wrote the book, I Can Believe in Myself, my goal was to empower 100,000 children to believe in themselves. So that is why we went for the Guinness World Record. And really the record was the icing on the top because we were able to empower over 100,000 adults and children with the book. We had 29 different countries participating. And on this call, we have people registered we have schools in Budapest and Singapore. We have a couple of schools in Alberta. We have a couple of schools right here in Ontario. So I want to welcome you and thank you for giving me the opportunity to read to you. So I'll be reading I Can Believe in Myself, and I will be sharing my screen so that you could see it and it not be backwards. Just give me a moment and I'll put the book up. There we go. You should be able to see now my book, I Can Believe in Myself, written by myself, Miriam Laundry, and pictures by Jennifer Ulick. Please don't say Molly, please don't say Molly, Molly silently feared. Our next star of the day is Molly, said Mrs. Ruby as she picked a card. Please bring a show and tell to share with the class tomorrow. After school, Molly walked home with only one thing on her mind. I can't speak in front of the class. I just can't, she thought. Molly felt sick to her stomach. She thought about it at dinner, during her bath, until she fell asleep. I can't, I can't, I can't. The next day, Molly went to school early to talk with Mrs. Ruby. I can't be the star of the day today, she blurted, because a three-headed monster took my show and tell. A three-headed monster? Responded Mrs. Ruby with a smile. I wonder what the monster needed your show and tell for. Probably to use for his show and tell, Molly said. Well, okay, you can be the star of the day tomorrow, said Mrs. Ruby as she continued to shred paper. Molly stood quietly for a moment. What is that? She asked, curiously watching the machine. This is called a paper shredder. It cuts up paper and gets rid of it, explained Mrs. Ruby. Wow, it looks hungry, said Molly as the bell rang. As the children made their way into the classroom, Maria handed a note to Mrs. Ruby. It read, I will be picking Maria up early today for an appointment. That gave Molly an idea. The next day, Molly walked straight to the teacher's desk and put a piece of paper in front of her. It said, Dear Mrs. Ruby, Molly can't speak today. She has a sore throat. Love, scratched out from Mommy. You poor thing, sighed Mrs. Ruby. You will have a difficult time talking with your friends today. Molly bit her nails. She hadn't thought of that. Molly sat on a swing at recess, watching her friends play. "Hey, Molly." "Molly, can you push me, please?" asked Maria. "I can't swing by myself. I just can't." Molly wanted to tell her to try, but she saw Mrs. Ruby and remembered the note. She knew Maria could do it if she just tried, but Molly couldn't talk. So she gave Maria a push. "Come on, it's your turn." Molly saw the twins, Andy and Alex, on the monkey bars. Alex got across no problem, but Andy looked scared. "I can't climb across the monkey bars. I just can't," he said sadly. Molly wanted to tell Andy to try. She did not like seeing her friend sad. She was sure he could do it if he just tried, but she couldn't talk. Ouch! Molly heard Emily. She had tripped over her shoelaces playing tag. "I can't tie my shoelaces. I just can't," said Emily, wiping away tears. "Can you tie them for me?" Molly wanted Emily to try. Molly knew Emily could do it if she just tried, but she couldn't talk. So she tied Emily's shoelaces for her. Molly ran to the field. "Why does everyone keep saying I can't?" she wondered. "I can't, I can't, I can't." She thought about it a lot, even during craft time. Suddenly, Molly realized something. She had been using those same words herself. Late that night, Molly rummaged through her craft materials. "This is my best idea yet," she said, with a smile as bright as the moon. The next day, Molly hurried to school. "Mrs. Ruby," Molly said out of breath, "I need your help to get my show and tell ready." "What do you need?" asked Mrs. Ruby. Molly looked in the hallway to make sure no one could hear. "Top secret," Molly said. Then she whispered in Mrs. Ruby's ear. "Let me pour myself another coffee," said Mrs. Ruby with a curious grin. "I can't make it through the morning without my coffee. I just can't." Molly cut and colored and pasted. Just as Molly added her final touches, the bell rang. When the children had settled into their seats, Mrs. Ruby announced, "Class, our star of the day is Molly." Molly stood up, took a deep breath, and walked to the front of the class. "My mom always tells me to make good choices," started Molly. "Yesterday, I finally understood why. I kept telling myself I can't speak in front of the class, so I wasn't even trying." Molly wrote on a piece of paper as Mrs. Ruby uncovered the show and tell. Molly had decorated the paper shredder. "This is my friend Shreddy. He is really hungry, and I'm going to feed him this piece of paper. Anything Shreddy eats is gone forever." She handed her paper to Mrs. Ruby. "Goodbye, I can't speak in front of the class," announced Molly. Shreddy swallowed the paper so fast, "Yum, yum, yum," said Molly, pretending to be Shreddy. "I can speak in front of the class because I believe I can," said Molly proudly. "I want to try," said Maria, walking up to Shreddy. She wrote on a piece of paper and said, "Goodbye, I can't swing by myself." Shreddy swallowed the paper so fast, "Yum, yum, yum," declared Molly and Maria. "I can," said Maria proudly. "Does anyone else want to feed Shreddy?" asked Molly. Andy went up. "Goodbye, I can't climb across the monkey bars." Shreddy swallowed the paper so fast, "Yum, yum, yum," said Andy, Molly, and Maria. "I can," shouted Andy. One by one, all the children went up. Last was Emily. "Goodbye, I can't tie my shoelaces." Shreddy swallowed the paper so fast, "Yum, yum, yum," giggled the whole class. "I can," said Emily, smiling. "Is there anyone else?" asked Molly. Everyone looked at each other. But it was Emily who spoke. Everyone has already gone. There's no one left. There's still one person, spoke up Mrs. Ruby. She took a piece of paper and wrote on it, I can't make it through the morning without coffee. Yum, 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 cheered the whole class. The end. Just getting back on. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that book. And I'd like to talk just for a couple of minutes about the message behind the book. The reason I wrote I Can Believe in Myself was because I would hear my children say a lot of I can'ts. They would say things like, I can't ride my bike without training wheels, I can't do a cartwheel, I can't eat that piece of broccoli. And really, that word I can't is something that limits us, it stops us. Whenever we say I can't do something, we are absolutely right, because we're not even going to try it. So I wrote the book mainly to teach them that can't is one of those 4-letter bad words that we shouldn't use. On the opposite side, when we say I can do something, there's hope, there's a possibility, and we're going to go for it. Now, it doesn't mean that as soon as we say I can do something, you're going to be able to do it on the first try. It may mean that you need to practice and practice to get it done. I'll tell you an example with my daughter, Elisa. When she was in kindergarten, she went to do a cartwheel and she fell down. She got up and she was upset with herself. She said, I can't do a cartwheel, I can't do a cartwheel. And she didn't try again for several years. Then something magical happened when I read the book to her classroom. That day, Elisa came home and she said to me, Mommy, I can do a cartwheel. She went to do a cartwheel and she fell. But what was magical was that she got back up and she said, I can do it, and went to do it again. And she fell. But it took her about a week of trying to do it, saying I can, falling down, getting back up, doing it again. But after a week, she got that cartwheel done. And the look of pride and accomplishment in her face was just priceless. So I want to encourage you that whenever you want to do something new, the very first thing is to tell yourself that you can do it and believe you can. The second thing is to ask somebody for help, to look for somebody that already knows how to do what you want to do and ask them for help. So in my daughter's situation, we had a babysitter come one night who teaches gymnastics. So my daughter asked her, can you help me? Can you give me some pointers? What am I doing wrong? So our babysitter was able to help her, and that saved her a lot of time and a lot of effort. So the 3 things when you want to do something new is to believe in yourself, tell yourself you can do it. The second thing is to ask for help. And then the third thing is to keep practicing and practicing until you get it done. I know you can do it. And that is the truth, that each one of us has the capabilities and the capacity to do whatever we set our minds to do. If other people can do it, you can do it too. And the message of this book is not only for children. We saw in the story that Mrs. Ruby had her own I can't. Even as adults, we believe we can't do a lot of things. And maybe even more than kids, because we get scared and we limit ourselves. So I want to encourage you also to go for something that you think you have been thinking about doing, but maybe you just put it aside because you're fearful. Just go for it. I know that you can do that. A quick example of that I'll share is when the book first came out, I was invited by a bookstore to come and share my story. And at the very end, I got everybody to think about something they thought they couldn't do, write it down, and we fed it to Shreddy. The book owner wrote her own I can't. And she said to me later that her I can't was, I can't buy a house and have a bookstore. Several months later, I received an email from this lady, and she was so happy she had bought her house. And she said that the book helped her go for it and believe in herself. So this message is for everybody. Decide today, what's the one thing you've been wanting to do, and go for it. Tell yourself you can do it. I appreciate everybody that's on the call, and the people that haven't been able to get on, you will get a video of it. Thank you for helping us share Winspiration Day. Have a great day.